Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole bringing you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time you are watching this live. Hello, crew. Hope all is well. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Well, welcome back to my coast, the West Coast. As you know, probably there's a lot going on out here in La La Land, okay? It's always something popping off out here, but this whole Rico and all of the unaliving and all the things that they're talking about, like this is probably the biggest, what they would say, bust in a very long time when it comes to LA. So, if I am not mistaken, Big U actually had his first court appearance. I believe it was actually Monday, March 31st. And for those who don't know what March 31st is, March 31st was, I believe, the 6th anniversary of when Nipsey was unalive. So how ironic that Big U had to appear in court the same day that Nipsey was unalived. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, Danielle. Hey, Belle. Hey, Trina. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way in. So, this beautiful young lady in the middle, her name is SKG. Okay. She is a rapper who actually used to be signed to Death Row Records. And she is actually from LA, the Rolling 60s neighborhood, same neighborhood as Nipsey Hussle and Big U. Okay. So we could definitely talk about that too, Danielle, because even though I'm from here, we'll talk about that. But yeah, a lot of people didn't know or really started to pay attention to him after what happened to him, including people out here. But yeah, so I had noticed that now this is after Big U was locked up, honey. After Big U was locked up, she was on, I believe, TMZ saying that she felt that Big U was involved in Nipsey's unaliving. Okay. Hey, DeMarcus. Now, that has been something that has been the rumor. I said that the last time I spoke to you guys. That has been the rumor from the beginning. Okay. The problem is that from my understanding, a lot of people who have been alleging that Big U was responsible, a lot of those people are allegedly clout chasers who really don't know ish, but they're saying it because it started getting them interviews allegedly and getting them a money bag. But it has been speculated for a while, though, that Big U was involved, especially when I told you guys can look this up yourself, that somebody had said something on IG Live one time when he was on IG Live, and he said justice for Nip and started laughing. So a lot of people have been speculating that he is the reason why Nipsey is no longer here, allegedly. But this girl, SKG, has been bold enough to say it. And I was just like, wow, like that's bold, because here's the thing. Yes, Big U is locked up. But if he has the reign and the control like everyone claims he has, which I have heard about Big U for a very long time, he was a good amount of time, though. Like when I was growing up, he was actually in prison. But if he has that type of power, don't think because he behind the bars that he still doesn't have that type of power. You know what I mean? But I guess she just said enough is enough, and she's finally going to speak about it. Now, At first I was trying to figure out like who is this girl and what is the purpose, because I had never heard of her. And so I started to do a little digging, okay? And I had noticed that she actually did an interview back in 2021. She did an interview in 2021 and it was with All Hip Hop. And she talked about being on Death Row Records and helping Nipsey. And allegedly, she got into a fight with Left Eye, apparently. So she has a history, okay? But I said, let me do a little digging about this, because why is she just mentioning this now? You know what I mean? So I was just like, where is this coming from? But interesting enough, in an interview that I found, she does mention that she had beef with Nipsey for a very long time. I believe she said that she didn't speak to Nipsey for like 8 years. And then one day they saw each other and they kind of just laughed it off, I guess, and hugged it out. And she was able to kind of talk it out with him and they were able to make amends before he was unalived. Now, because of that, she said she didn't want to talk about it in an article either. She didn't want to explain why they did not talk and how she was really upset with him and didn't speak for him for 8 years. She said she does not want to discuss it. But I find it interesting that I did find an article back in 2021 with her saying she did not talk to him. Well, she decided to go on a podcast and started telling it all. Okay. Now, the reason why I was a little hesitant over her is because she is really cool, I guess, with Whack 100. I'm sure you guys have heard the name. I have mentioned the name. Honestly, like I told you guys, I'm from here, but anybody in their 40s, 50s, and 60s still banging, to me, it is such a turn off. Like if I hear on Pyru, on 6-0, on Crip, on Blood, if I get so tired of that, and I understand it's a part of our culture out here, but I have never subscribed to it. I have my, you know what I'm saying, I don't hate Whack 100. I just personally feel that Whack 100 talks a lot. And I feel like, you know, based on what he claims, that is not the way to go when you're apparently a part of a certain set or whatever. All the talking he does, a lot of these so-called guys who are part of these sets, they talk a lot. They talk a lot and they're on these freaking podcasts saying it's just for clout, saying it's just for, you know what I'm saying, content. But here we are now, and a lot of those people saying they were just for content are now locked up. So just for content, my ass. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that people say, well, Nicole, it's a part of our culture out here. Whatever. It ain't never, you know what I'm saying? Like, all I know is that it's always left people with football numbers or they were 6 feet under. So for me, I never understood it. For me, I never did. So yeah, Whack, the three fingers Whack. Like how you banging on high blood pressure medicine is whack. Right. Or diabetes medicine or whatever else is going on. People be dry snitching. Yeah, and they call it content. Or they be dry lying, because allegedly a lot of stuff is being put out there now where a lot of stuff that people were saying, they was just strictly lying for content, allegedly. So I'm gonna play the actual videos of SKG talking. She said a lot, but interesting enough, she also talks about how Nipsey allegedly set her up to get attacked, allegedly by Big U, while she was pregnant. Okay. So I know that people have this big thing about Nipsey being untouchable because they say he's a legend and he did so much for the community. Let's make this very clear. Anybody who bangs, at the end of the day, they're not innocent. Banging comes with things that literally your average civilian is not going to do. There's protocols, there's things involved. I never looked at Nipsey like he was innocent. He banged rolling 60s like no other. And furthermore, I remember a time when Nipsey definitely said some very interesting things about Black women back in the day on Twitter. Okay. He actually made a comment years back where he sat up there and he apologized after. I mean, but again, to me, that was a PR move in my personal opinion. But he actually, there was a tweet and somebody said Black females are a disgrace to the Black culture. And he apparently replied and said, I can't retweet that, but LMAO, true shit. So I always kind of was just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand people love Nipsey, but sometimes when you look at tweets and stuff like that, you really get a sense of how people feel. But because he has so much backlash in what he said, he gave like the typical PR apology. Yes. And of course, yeah, he slapped a grown ass man at the BET Awards. So not innocent. Definitely at the same time, though, I don't put the D on anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't wish that on anyone. Him being unalive was tragic. He had kids. He had a family that loved him. I'm just saying that when it comes to the whole gang banging and all of that stuff, this is what it typically leads to. And none of them are innocent in any way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do certain things to even get into these damn, you know what I'm saying? Like freaking gangs, allegedly. I'm gonna say allegedly. So with that being said, we're gonna listen to her. I'm gonna tell you right now, trigger warning. You're gonna probably hear some things that are gonna be upsetting, and fair use. This is for entertainment, educational purposes only. But yeah, I definitely want to let you guys also know trigger warning, okay? Because it is probably gonna get pretty deep on some of the things that you guys are going to hear. Okay. So I just wanted to let you know before I put it on here. So just one moment. Let's go. And then let's go here. All right. All right. And let me know if you guys can see it. So you can see it. And then let me know, because we've had these issues before. Let me know if you guys can hear it. Okay. So I'm going to play it. Let's go.
So this is where I got mad at Nipsey because I'm like, did you set me up? So remember, I didn't see him no more after this meeting. Nipsey started calling me.
And this is probably what year?
2009.
Okay. So like 10 years before he passed. Still super early in Nipsey's career.
Right. So I didn't see him anymore. So then a few weeks later, Nipsey's calling. He's like, sis, I need my posters. Because remember, I was doing Nipsey's campaign for him and I had all his posters. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to come through. I don't end up coming through. He called me again. I need the posters. I'm like, okay, I'm going to come through. I don't come through. He called me again. I finally decide to go through. When I go to him, now mind you, I still haven't talked to Big U. So I go to Nipsey's shop. I walk in the shop. Him and Fats, they're out at the counter. I walk up. I'm talking to him, and I just hear the click, click. And it was like I knew. That was that. I just knew. It's like it's a setup.
Oh, wow. Click, click, like somebody had a gun drawn on you?
No, click, click. They closed the door. Click,
they
click.
Locked it. Okay.
So they closed it, and then it was a thing where you can lock it. And I just heard the click, click.
Okay.
Once the door closed, you just know.
And so how's this play out from there?
Nipsey and Fat dropped their heads. And
at this point, because obviously people know that Nipsey and Big U ended up having this fallout that was mostly behind the scenes, did come out on records and stuff. But at this point, Nipsey's still all in with Big U. They're like super tapped in still. Okay.
Right. And so Nipsey and Fats, they dropped their head, and then Big U just jumped on me. And Bear Claw is with him. So the guy that's on his case with him, that's a part of development options, it was him and Bear Claw. And so he just started beating on me. He's like, bitch, you disrespected me in the meeting. Bitch, you did this. I never stole nothing from this man. I never did anything that warrant for him to put his hands on me. He jumped on me because I stood up to him and would not let him dictate, extort, or control me. And because my bosses and colleagues rode with me. This is why I got jumped on.
Damn. And that's a big ass dude to be beating up on a much smaller woman,
mind
too.
you, I was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
You know, and I just think about the stuff he used to say, like, you know, bitch, I'm gonna make sure you ain't gonna never be shit. And I told him, I'm like, why? Because I want to work hard. Why? Because I don't want to be in the hood getting by niggas and stuff. Because I want to be something. Because I want to make something of myself. Why?
Wow.
Why do you want to beat on me? Think about it. Why do you want to destroy and take from me when I didn't build myself up? I for someone like me, where the odds was against me, I came from such a dysfunctional upbringing, from so much hurt, so much pain, so much trauma, right?
Yeah.
To where a woman like me, I'm basically a statistic, mother on drugs, fathers in prison, families gangbangers. Why do you want to take from me? Why?
Right.
You want to take, and I brought you into this situation. Why do you want to bully and extort and control me in regards to a situation I set you at the table at? You didn't sit me there, I set you there.
It's wild because I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so that was hard for me to hear personally. Yeah. So she is alleging that Big U was trying to extort her also. Now, I'm sure you guys, if you guys hear a little bit about what's going on, that is one of the actual crimes that they're alleging that Big U has done, which is extortion. And that is through a lot of the times they're calling it checking in. And for those who don't know what checking in is, it pretty much means that people who are not from here, who come here to do business or come here to do, you know, like videos and things like that, they have to check in with people from certain neighborhoods. In other words, pay for protection, okay? Or better yet, pay so then that way no one will allegedly take from you. But a lot of times it's a setup where if people don't check in, the same people who claim they're going to protect you are allegedly the same people who take from you. So in my personal opinion, I think that there are a lot of cities that do check-ins. The issue is that when you're dealing with Los Angeles, there is a lot of money coming in and out of this city. This is where Hollywood is. This is where the industry is. So allegedly, there were a lot of people making people do check-ins, and they got caught up with it. Maybe they had the wrong people checking in, or they started doing an investigation. So she's alleging that Big U allegedly also tried to extort her. And when she said no, amongst other things, this is what happened to her. And she is alleging that Nipsey set her up. Nipsey kept saying, come to the shop, come to the shop. She finally got to the shop. They locked her in, and she's just saying that Big U allegedly did this to her while she was pregnant. And Nipsey and Fats, which is allegedly Nipsey's best friend, they are saying that Fats allegedly also got unalived, allegedly by Big U. So both Nipsey and Fats are no longer here with us. Both got unalived due to the pow, allegedly, and allegedly by Big U. So I find it interesting that she said both Nipsey and Fats were in the shop, and they just put their head down, like they acted like, you know, they was trying to ignore what was going on, and neither one of them are here anymore either. Yes, check-ins are typically for famous people with some money. Yeah, people with money. Your average person coming in and out of LA, they're not trying to check in, but it's like people who are known, whether they're big podcasters, industry folks, things like that. Yeah, because those are the people that they typically can try to allegedly extort money from. So yes, but it's not like your average person having to check in. It has to be someone with a name, someone with some clout, someone with some alleged money. All right. So I just wanted to say that really quick, but let's continue.
I just had a conversation with Whack where he basically like described why in large part things didn't work out with him and Big U is because he would kind of like introduce him to people business wise. And then, you know, like Whack is not the kind of guy who's going to like charge you to be cool in LA. But then all of a sudden he'd be introducing Big U to people. And then all of a sudden those people are basically getting finessed out of money in order to be safe in the city and whatnot. And it's like Whack said the other day, he's like, this motherfucker thought it was still 1987. As in, like, you know, a lot of this stuff just doesn't really happen the way that it used to. But Big U comes home from prison and basically is like still living the same life that was a lot more normalized back then.
But this is the thing. I was there with him and Wack. Wack was there with us. We were all there together. So I seen how he did Wack. I seen how Wack acted towards Big U. Wack was loyal. Steve Lobel, loyal. These people were loyal. When people talk about Wack, Wack has a reason to be mad. I don't care what nobody say. Wack has a reason. If you wasn't there, if you wasn't in a circle, if you didn't have deal memos, if you didn't do stuff for him, if you wasn't affected, then shut the fuck up, because Wack has a reason. I have a reason. These aren't made up allegations.
Right.
For me personally, I wouldn't trust Wack either. Okay. She may got love for Wack, but I wouldn't trust any of the asses if you ask me. But she's saying Wack got a reason because she said Big U was not loyal, but I don't trust his ass either. But let's continue.
Said this on my Instagram. A person that's hanging around a person for clout and status or being a groupie will never understand a person that create the motion. We create the motion. We create the wave. It was never valuable to deal with him.
Right.
At all.
Totally. That beating though, how far did that go? Like, did you have serious injuries by the end of it?
Yeah, I had to go to the hospital. I was scared I was going to lose my baby.
Wow.
After the beating, I still went on Brian Hurst and I had to take some phase. I fought. And he tried to call it off.
While pregnant?
While pregnant.
Oh
Just
my
to still be cool in the hood, or?
No, because I was mad because he put his hands on me.
Okay.
And it's like, what are you putting your hands on me for? What?
Okay, a lot of this, like, I only saw a small clip. A lot of this, I'm hearing this for the first time with you guys. So she literally was still fighting while she had a baby inside of her, y'all. Oh my gosh. Like, see, this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. I never understood that life, never understood it, never respected it. But let's continue.
For what? For what? I didn't steal from you. I didn't do nothing to warrant this. So because you can't extort me?
Right.
So now we're on Brian Hurst. Okay, you're calling girls. So while I'm on Brian Hurst, another guy come up. He's like, "Where's the 10,000 you stole from him?" I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? What are you? This man ain't never had $1.50 to give me. What are you talking about?" And then the girls came and we got active. We start fighting. But it's like, why did I have to go through all that? Because I wouldn't let you extort me.
Right. So was this kind of like a one-time incident, or it keeps continuing? Like whenever you try to make moves in the industry, it's kind of following you?
It keeps continuing because this is the thing. He's friends with my mother's side of the family. So my brother was in the feds. My brother was in jail when all this happened with me and Big U. And then he didn't get out till a few years later. So now by the time he got out, everything then died down. Big U apologized to me, a fake apology. My brother and Big U's cool, right?
I wish somebody would put their hands on me, one, but then also put their hands on me, even though I didn't put hands on them, but then also I'm pregnant. I'm not taking an apology. There is no apology. F that apology. I be damned. Like an apology? Hell no. No, absolutely not.
Right? Internally, I'm still fucked up. But because I don't want to start stuff with my family, I have to swallow it. I have to just accept it. It's like my feelings don't matter. It don't matter that I lost my job. It don't matter that I lost my condo, my cars. I had to go all the way to Atlanta for my sanity.
Wait, all this led to you getting fired?
Danielle, that is very true. It's almost to the point where it's like, it's weird. It's like everybody out here tries to prove how hard they are. You can be in one of the most preppiest schools, but everybody is trying to prove how hard they are and how much they can bang and prove how tough they are out here. it is definitely it's different out here. It is different. It was definitely worse back in the day, the 80s and 90s, of course, and like the early 2000s, but it's still that mentality where, people even in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, they trying to physically fight when they don't like what somebody said. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like a lot of times people feel like that's the only way they can get their respect, and as if they don't have anything to lose. That's the way it happens out here, unfortunately.
Hired and everything? How did that work?
No, it was for my safety.
Oh, okay.
So I lost my job. I lost my 401k. I had just bought me 2 cars. I lost my car. I lost my condo. I lost everything.
Wow.
On top of my reputation, my image, SKG, the music, the events, the branding. He stripped me of everything, my dignity, everything, everything. And people don't understand that. For someone like me, for a female like me that really hustle, Adam, I really hustle out here.
Right.
I really make moves. I really put deals and business deals and deal memos. I put things together. He took everything from me and I had to start from scratch.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, it's such an uphill battle for a young Black woman from the hood to be even making it in general. And then to just have people who are supposed to be the kind of people that are supporting you and uplifting you, to have them being the one who are basically getting in the way of you being able to progress. That's terrible.
Yeah. And then people didn't want to work with me. So I went through that a lot. Oh, Big, you said you no good. Oh, Big, you said no. That followed me for so many years, especially within the Black community. It followed me. So many things I couldn't get done. Do you know what helped me?
What?
Going over more so West Hollywood and dealing more so with, and I hate to say it like that, but dealing with the white market. And that's just real. If it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have survived. I think within the community, I would have drowned out.
Wow. All right, you guys. That was just one clip. We not even done. All right. Are y'all ready? I hope y'all got y'all libations, eating your dinner, whatever the case may be. So yeah. So with that being said, she probably still has certain privileges, Danielle, but at the same time, if a guy doesn't respect a woman, he doesn't respect the woman. See, a lot of times out here, and as I said, me and my friends who are from here, we can have these open and honest conversations. Even my friends who are biracial, they've had those honest conversations with me, saying, yeah, some of them may want us on their arms, but we're still not getting treated better. They may want the arm candy. They may want the racially ambiguous looks. They may want the baby to kind of come out looking like us, but that doesn't mean that we are necessarily treated better. So she probably has certain privileges to get into the door, but does that necessarily mean that she was treated better? No. Because if a guy is disrespectful, he's going to be disrespectful. I'm sure you guys have seen some of, our West Coast movies and documentaries and stuff like that. Like, a lot of the times they didn't even call women or ladies. It was the B word all day, every day. So yeah, But with that being said, that is her talking about the Nipsey setup allegedly, and how, she got set up by him and she didn't speak to him for a very long time, but I guess was able to make amends with him before he passed again. And apparently she made a comment that he said, you love to hold a grudge. I'm sorry, but you sit up there and try to jump me, especially you a man, but even if it's a woman, you try to jump me, and I especially jump me, but then jump me and I'm pregnant. Yeah, there's no more conversation to have. There's no, like, we don't ever need to talk again. To say, oh, you hold a grudge, that's a grudge forever. Because you could have not only harmed me, but harmed my baby. Okay. So yeah, so this is just definitely one of, some others that we're going to actually discuss. But she also talks about how she ended up finally saying enough is enough when it came to Big U, and she actually saw him, I guess, in a hotel, and apparently threw like a Mountain Dew bottle at him. Like, I guess she was just like, enough is enough, and she ended up like going in on Big U, but there were some consequences once she did that. So I'm gonna play that one too. Guy in the door then got kicked up against the door. It was a joke to him. Yeah, allegedly. Again, this is all what she's saying. This is all alleged, but she just goes in. She goes in. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, I would hope, you know what I'm saying, that, you know what I'm saying, this woman wouldn't be lying about this. But again, I have to say alleged because, you know, it's her versus what he says. You know what I'm saying? So I'll play this one, and then we will go from there. So let's hear. All right, here we go.
At what point in the process of you putting the show together?
Through the whole show.
Okay.
Through the whole show. And by this time, Wack knows about this. I had to deal with Live Nation. And read it. And see, I have receipts for that because I was going back and forth with Live Nation.
Sugar Free needs 15 passes and 7 all-access wristbands per his manager, Ted. As far as indie acts, I'm still waiting on the full list. We just need a time slot from 8 to 9 for our acts. I have a stage manager who's going to flow our indie acts. He just did the Wiz show, which was a success. After that, you can map the show out how you need to. At this point, Corrupt may not come, and I fear for my life because his manager, Big U, has threatened to harm my life, which I'm at the police station now. I'm a mother of 4 children. I don't take threats lightly, especially when I have an event to pull off. So if we can please accommodate Sugar Free, that would be great. And if Big U comes, I don't want him allowed in the venue or around my red carpet. So I'm trying to hire off-duty police officers. Sorry for the inconvenience.
What date is that?
That is June 26, 2014. And that's from you.
2014. So over 10 years ago. She was even talking about it then, and he's reading, I guess, from an email that she has showing proof that she has been scared of him allegedly for years. Okay, so she is talking about how this has been an ongoing issue for a very long time. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hitting the like button is free. Please hit the like button. A lot is probably going to come out now since folks are locked up. Yeah, that's the way it typically happens, right? They either locked up or they're gone forever. That's when a lot of stuff does come out. So yeah, let me continue.
To Paul. Okay. Damn. So even at that point, this was just like a constant thing.
It's been a constant thing. And that's what people don't understand. This isn't one thing. It's a constant throughout my career, throughout my life, just dealing with him.
Right.
Read this one real quick. I just want you to read that one.
Okay. This is from you again in 2014. Hello, Paul. I spoke with Compton AV's manager. He's confirmed. I paid him in full for the show tonight, and I have a contract on him. I paid Corrupt $1,500 through his manager, Big U. If the rumor is he is not showing up tonight and I have a signed contract, I will sue him. Big U is making this very hard for me and is intimidating, extorting, and bullying. The only way Corrupt won't show up is because he said he couldn't. I'll be at the House of Blues at 2:30 today.
What year is that?
Again, same date, June 26, 2014. So, yeah, like, I mean, I forget if, were you the one who's kind of saying that Big U and Corrupt have had this fucked up relationship over the years?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. I mean, he beat Corrupt ass in front of Snoop and Daz, and Corrupt, if he want to deal with that and turn back around and say my brother, that's
okay. Y'all know who Corrupt is? Put a 1 in the chat if you know who Corrupt is. She just said Big U beat up Corrupt and turned around and said that's my brother. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Corrupt and Big U are from the same neighborhood, same set, allegedly. Didn't Big U get indicted on 40 plus charges? Something like that. Something like that. It's a lot. It's a lot. It is a lot. He's locked up in the feds right now. So it is a lot. Yeah. So she's saying that Corrupt allegedly got beat up by Big U. Now, even Big U said this in an interview. For those who watched the movie Friday, put a 1 in the chat if you saw the movie Friday. The character Debo, okay? Allegedly is based off of Big U. Okay, that character Debo is allegedly based off of Big U. So if you can imagine the way Debo was moving around the neighborhood, that's allegedly the way that they say Big U has moved around every time he's been free, allegedly.
It's incorrect, but that's not love. That's not friendship. That's not loyalty. That's not normal.
Right. No, definitely. That's fucking wild. So then we fast forward from that to this incident in the hotel lobby where you're getting into this huge argument with Big U, right? Is that like what year was that?
That was last year.
Oh, that was only last year. Okay.
It makes it a year this month.
Holy shit. So I mean, what was this still just like a lingering thing that kept occurring up until then?
Yeah, it's always been lingering. Like, you know, just in the streets, just stuff he'll say to people. It was just like, even me minding my business, he will subliminally bully me. Just, you know, oh, her family's gonna roll with me. Her family don't even like her. I got her family in my pocket. And it's just like, why? Oh, don't do business with her. I don't want nobody in the city working with her. Why?
Really?
Why?
It's like you stood up for yourself one time and that's enough to make it so that you have to be intimidated and bullied going forward. Whereas like there's plenty of people that he could have chose to run this sort of game on, but somehow you just ended up in the crosshairs, huh?
I think because he knows my hustle. Like, I'm going to get to it, period. And I don't need him with me. He's not an asset to me. And you have to look at everyone that he was around. He either bullied, extorted, they hung around him for protection status. That was never me. Because I have my own visions, my own goals, my own aspirations. I didn't need Big U, you know?
Definitely. So that hotel incident, you seeing him was totally random, or how did that go down?
It was random. So I had tagged him and made the video saying that he's been bullying me for years and jumped on me and things of that nature. And so I did other podcast shows. And
if you ask me, the way she's talking, it almost sounds like she had more balls than a lot of these guys. It seemed like she had more balls to sit up there and face Big U and say, I'm not scared of you more than these guys. Apparently, these guys seem to just kind of bow down, so to speak. But because she was a woman and she said, hell no, you're not going to do that to me, it seems that she got a lot of the drama because she just didn't just say, you know what, whatever you like, whatever you want, I'll just do it, you know?
After that, I think it was like 2 months later, and I was at the hotel at the Ben Crump Awards, and I was just minding my business with my family, and something just told me to turn around. I was standing in line with my kids, and I turned around, and he was just walking up to me talking mess out the blue.
And was this kind of a different attitude from you? Because I assume you had just been so scared of him prior to this that you might have seen him and just sort of ducked off or backed away from the situation. Was there something about that day that made you feel more outspoken?
Yeah, and I think that's why he was walking up to me talking mess, because that is what he's known me as, like, to be scared of him, or not just scared, but terrified. Like, you know, I used to be very terrified. I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, just to be a woman in that situation, it was scary. But as the years went on, my fear turned into anger, and it is uncontrollable anger.
Right.
And when I seen him, I just wanted to tear his head off. It's like, how dare you walk up to me? How dare you say something to me? I have my kids here, and I wasn't scared. In that moment, I just wanted to kill him. Like, I get emotional when I think about it, because I don't think people understand. Like, I hate him. I hate, like, and I said I wasn't gonna cry. I don't want to cry, but I hate him. With everything in me, I hate that man. And when I seen him, I didn't have no fear in me. I'm just like, I'm going to kill you. Like, I wanted to kill him.
Because you probably look at him and you see everything that could have been in your life.
just everything that he did to me. Like, just people don't understand. Like, his son Yui called me and tried to extort me for my son.
Oh my
My son
God.
does music, and so I didn't know that my son
So this is a family affair, allegedly. Big U's son is also a part of this, allegedly. What the hell?
was hanging around Yui. And when I found out, I went ballistic. I'm like, we are not socializing with their family. We are not doing that. Long story short, his son calls me. And when he called, he's like, yeah, this is Yui. I gotta call you because I need to talk to you about your son and my contract. I'm like, excuse me? And that was such a trigger to where I just went ballistic on his son. And so his son called back and he apologized. And then he was like, nobody gives me a fair shot because of my dad. Nobody
Oh,
gives me a
wow.
fair shot because Big U is my dad and they think I'm like this and they think I'm like that. Right. And in that moment, I felt bad for him. But it is the hate that I have for Big U to where I don't want to socialize with nobody that is related to him, that's cool with him, because I don't like him. I know what type of person.
So it sounds like the son, Big U's son, based on what she's saying, allegedly probably had legitimate business with her son and was calling in regards to the contract, but she probably thought he was about to do a shakedown, allegedly, like Big U allegedly has done on her. And he called like, no, like I'm just calling in regards to business, but people just automatically assume because I'm Big U's son, no one gives me a fair shot, or they think when I call about business that I'm about to do what my father does. That has to be a hard situation to be in. That people just hear who your father is and they just have, this whole preconceived notion about who you are. So I can see how it could play on someone where they may love the fear that it instills in people, but then some who may be embarrassed by it too. Let's see. That's like when you get into a DV relationship and you have kids, you got to be mama bear to protect your cubs. She fought for her son, her kids, period. I think she said she got 4 kids. So she definitely, she has fought for, seems like all of her kids. But then because I'm gonna go through another one that she says that after, I guess, this alleged altercation at the hotel, because she was pretty much saying enough was enough and she got tired of it. She said that Big U put a hit out on her, allegedly. So let's hear that. Whew.
Oh wow.
And so a few people called and told me, but one person that called me was Monique Slaughter. And we quit being
Monique.
friends because she was going around telling people that Big U had put a hit out on me.
Oh wow.
And that was like, wow, like you put a hit out on me because what? I took up for myself because I'm not going to let you punk me. Okay, that's fine. I'll handle that accordingly. So it's stuff like that. But
Okay. I think at this point, it's probably safe to say, but I guess I'm going to have to say allegedly, it's safe to say that if there's going to be a trial when it comes to this case, she's probably going to be one of the witnesses. She's probably going to testify on the prosecutor's behalf. If you're willing to go to these podcasts at this point and tell your whole story and show emails and things like that, I'm gonna have to say that she is probably gonna take the stand. What do you guys think about that? Because at this point, why not? Hell, if you're willing to tell all of this, you might as well, right? Right? Or am I tripping? Let's continue.
I'm not scared of that man, Adam.
How different do you start moving once you realize there might be a hit on you?
I'm moving the same because I'm not walking in fear. I can't. I did that for years dealing with this man. He bleed just like the rest of us. His team bleed just like the rest of us. I'm not letting nobody never again put fear in my heart.
Wow. I mean, you're an incredibly strong person. I just got to take a moment to say that, because I mean, a lot of people would curl up into a ball and try to disappear from public.
Yeah. A lot of people would do that, especially a lot of these men out here who apparently have been scared of him for all of these years. So yeah, she said after that hotel attack, allegedly, he put a hit out on her. But the last thing that I want to actually talk about is her alleging, she alleges that Big U is responsible, allegedly, for Nipsey. Okay, allegedly for Nipsey passing. So let me actually go here. Yeah, so I'm telling you guys, this is a lot. She had a long interview with them, but this is definitely a lot. So here we go. All right.
His involvement could have been with the Nipsey situation. What do you think about that?
He absolutely was involved in Nipsey's situation. And people, they don't want to say it. They're scared to say it. That's fine. I'll say it for you. He was involved with the Nipsey situation. And I want to let the detectives, because they're supposed to reopen Nipsey's case. That's what I was told.
Oh, wow.
I want to let them do their work. And I just feel like if they do their due diligence, they will find out exactly what they're looking for. But come on now, you think he wasn't? Nipsey died in 2019. And he allegedly did this to Rayshawn in 2021. He felt untouchable.
So when Loose Cannon puts up
so
the version of
hold
the story where
so Rayshawn
got a call from Big U 30 minutes before it happened.
Hold on, you guys.
Do you see that? And you tend to be like, yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, I believe it. And I'm going to tell you why I believe it. Do you remember when Loose was on the show? And then I think an attorney number posted a deceased for Loose with the video.
Sorry, you know how sometimes your mouse cursor stops and gets stuck. So she said Rayshawn. He did this to Rayshawn, she said, I think in 2021. That is the unaliving that they're accusing Big U of, with everything else that he's accused of. RICO, extort, all of that. He has been officially, allegedly charged with unaliving this guy, Rayshawn. Now, they're saying this Rayshawn guy, I think, not only was a football player who apparently was good friends with his son, Big U's son, but he was also allegedly signed to Big U. Does that sound familiar? Remember, Nipsey was signed to Big U at one point. Allegedly, they had a big fallout, and next thing you know, 2019, Nipsey is gone. So what she's saying is that, isn't it interesting that Big U had Nipsey signed to him, and then they had a big falling out for various reasons, allegedly, and then Nipsey is gone in 2019, and then all of a sudden something that's very similar happens to this other guy, and this happened allegedly in 2021. Okay, so yeah, so this is exactly what is going on in this situation, and that's what she's talking about. But she is alleging, she's like, yeah, definitely he had something to do with Nipsey being unalive. Hey, KYNG Code TV, what's up? Make sure you guys follow them. Good people. But yeah, so that's what she's saying. Was Rayshawn the guy with the DNA under the Big U's nail? Yes, that is allegedly the guy that they're talking about, where the DNA was under his nails. Apparently, he was a known football player, if I'm not mistaken, and he was a rapper, if I'm not mistaken, signed under Big U, allegedly. So Nipsey was signed under Big U. This Rayshawn guy was signed under Big U. Both of them are gone. All right. So let's continue.
Okay. I called the attorney and talked to the attorney myself. And the attorney, she told me that Big U just hired her for that cease and desist. Okay. So if there was never anything, why would you hire an attorney for that?
Yeah, right.
And so when they kept saying, oh, the attorney is fake, I talked to the attorney and I told her, do you know what type of monster you're representing? And then she told me, I don't even know him like that. He called me to hire me for this specific case, you know, for this cease and desist.
Right.
So that was not a fake attorney. That was a real attorney.
Yeah, because I've gotten
Wait a
fake
minute,
cease and
hold
desist
on.
that seemed like they were cooked up on ChatGPT.
Hold on. So she is saying, okay, so I think the cease and desist that she's talking about, let me break it down to you guys. So, No Jumper, and this is the podcast that we're looking at. Several years back, there is a guy named Loose Cannon, okay? Loose Cannon was on No Jumper with Whack 100, and he was on the podcast alleging that Big U apparently called him 30 minutes before Nipsey had passed. He allegedly called Loose Cannon and said that Nipsey was unalived. Okay. So he said that Big U allegedly called him, Loose Cannon, and said Nipsey was unalived. Loose Cannon claims that he called Nipsey. Nipsey picks up the phone and he was like, "What's up?" You know what I'm saying? Because I love you, whatever the case may be. But he said that he didn't tell Nipsey what Big U just called and told him because of the fact that they had kind of had their ups and downs. One minute they was cool, one minute they wasn't cool. So when he spoke to Nipsey, he was just like, what the heck is he talking about? But then 30 minutes after he got that call from Big U and after he spoke to Nipsey, his phone apparently started blowing up and he was told that no, Nipsey was just unalived. Now, this is what apparently Loose Cannon said. This is what he said on No Jumper. Loose Cannon is also allegedly locked up. Yes. Loose Cannon, Sugar Plum, Sweetie. He always screams Sweetie. He calls Big U big useless. Now, apparently right now, he is locked up in Las Vegas, in the feds in Las Vegas, because apparently he lives in Las Vegas. Allegedly, he is about to be extradited to LA. And allegedly, he's going to be in the same jail that Big U is locked up in, which is going to be quite interesting because Big U has not only, he put a cease and desist out on No Jumper when Loose Cannon said that, saying that it wasn't true, but he also said in the video before he was going in and was about to turn himself in that Loose Cannon and the Whack 100s and the 600s are the ones who've been running their mouth lying and putting his name and stuff, and now he's getting locked up because of it. So it's going to be quite interesting if Loose Cannon actually has to go into the same jail that Big U was in, and they gonna be in the same jail until trial, maybe. That's gonna be some interesting shit, if you ask me. But yeah, so yeah, no girl. Even if they not in the cell together, just that in general, because he has, which is interesting that they haven't even placed him in LA yet. He's been in Las Vegas for quite some time now. I guess finally they're about to send him to LA. I don't know why they didn't send him to LA from the beginning. LA to Vegas is a 45-minute flight, 4-hour drive. But apparently today he was supposed to be sent from Las Vegas to LA, and he's going to be locked up in the same jail as Big U. So I don't know if he's going to be in PC. I don't know, but that's going to be quite interesting. Throwing up sets all over the place, girl. But apparently, allegedly, there is a girl out there who claims that she was with Loose Cannon the day that Nipsey passed. She's saying allegedly that what Loose Cannon said was all a lie. He was doing it all for clout. He was doing it all for content. No Big U called him and he didn't speak to no dang on Nipsey. Apparently they claiming that he don't even know Nipsey like that. So this is what I'm saying, that like at this point, we don't know who the hell is telling the truth. People like to say certain things apparently for clout, for them to get views, for them to make money. Hell, who knows? But I know one thing. If any of them are lying, what you gonna say now? Because now you're locked up in the damn feds over lying, trying to get clout, trying to get content. Dumb as hell. But let's continue.
but that was from an actual
That was from
law
an
firm.
actual law firm because I spoke with her. I spoke with her myself. And then I called WAC and I'm like, I just spoke with the attorney. I'm going to do my due diligence. So
Right.
yeah, I picked up the phone and called her.
And even just in the last day, I've had a few people.
And let me say this. It don't sound right to me that an attorney would tell you that. I gotta ask my friends, but I don't know. Somebody randomly calling you and saying, do you know the client that you're representing and what he's done? I don't, if that is your client and she's claiming that that was her client, I don't know if I see an attorney saying, he just called me and I don't really know him. Like, I don't know attorney would do something like that. Even if attorney was like freaking representing Charles Manson, like there, I don't think an attorney would do that, especially a legit attorney. Like, first of all, who are you and why are you calling me? And that's my client. Don't ask me questions about my client. You know what I mean? Am I tripping? But I don't know. But she claims that the lady was like, look, I don't really know him. He just needs an attorney. So I'm just here to do my job.
Like sending me videos of fights that it seemed like in the video it was Big U and Eric Holder involved in these videos. Like they may have been closer than certain people have led us to believe.
Absolutely. Big U is a habitual liar. If you haven't noticed that, if you just go back and look at his videos and look at different things, he's a habitual liar, a compulsive liar. Even with me and his situation, he lied and said he didn't know me. And then after that, he started posting pictures of us on his Instagram and tried to give them a version of a story that wasn't even true. He's a habitual liar.
Damn. As far as the whole checking in thing goes, like, is that something that you've just known about for forever? Like, is that even slightly shocking to you?
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying, especially a lot of these content creators who are either from here or they just really talk about like the ins and outs of the hip hop culture out here. A lot of them have been saying that they feel like Wack is a snitch and he's behind the scenes snitching or whatever the case may be. But like, you know, I think DeMarcus said earlier, when they're talking on these freaking podcasts saying it's content, that is to a certain extent dry snitching, which is why I said it doesn't pay to be in the gang culture. Be a damn civilian. Because literally, it's like at this point, you're telling on yourself or you're technically snitching on people, and that's supposed to be against the code of what you represent. But a lot of them have been saying that they feel like WAC 100 has been snitching. But yeah, so let's continue.
No, because I did know about it. I knew about the checking in because he bragged about the checking in, but I didn't know the details per se in regards to how deep it went. You know, that's like if you hear checking in, you're like, okay, that means someone have to check in.
Right. If I go to Houston tomorrow, I could check in with a variety of people and maybe they even move around with me. Maybe, you know, and there's a lot of reasons why they could want to do that. They could just want some attention or clout, hanging out with people, whatever. That's very different than the situation being like, no, you have to pay X amount of dollars or else we're going to make this very difficult.
Well, I knew about certain rappers paying. I knew about that part, right? But I didn't know to the extent in regards to, I didn't know that if they don't check in, they get hurt or unalive. Right? So when I say the details, I wasn't too privy to those details, but I did know about, okay, this person, they have to check in.
Right.
I just didn't know what happened.
And allegedly, a lot of them are also saying, why isn't WAC 100 in custody? Because apparently, allegedly, they actually have him on recording saying things like he could squeeze certain people allegedly, which is another word for, I guess, extorting or checking in, so to speak. I don't know if you guys remember, but there's this guy named Hassan Campbell. He's the one that allegedly recorded WAC 100 one time talking on the phone with him. And that's when WAC 100 said to Hassan that he knew of a tape of Nipsey doing some very iffy stuff with his baby mama. I don't know if you guys remember that whole story, but Hassan apparently recorded that whole conversation, and it just wasn't about Nipsey in this alleged tape of him, but also apparently how he allegedly squeezes certain people like Gilly and Wallow allegedly and other people. So that's why people were saying, well, hold the hell up. If Big U is in prison right now because of checking in and extorting, why in the hell is Whack 100 not in prison right now, or whatever the case may be, which is why people are saying maybe he's allegedly snitching because he has been on a recording claiming the same things that Big U allegedly is being accused of, and yet he's not locked up. So yeah, Hassan, yeah, that guy, I called him 1-800-FOOL. Yeah, him. He recorded Whack 100's conversation and put a lot of stuff out there, allegedly.
And I guess if the check-in wasn't checked in, if that makes sense. Like, okay, well, what happened?
Because when I remember sitting there having the conversation with Loose Cannon, and he's kind of talking about them getting 50,000 out of Rick Ross and Meek Mill and shit, just so that they could like continue to be out at some club or something. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, Big U's on that? Like, that's how you guys were getting down? Like, I was so confused. And now the feds have this all in the indictment, and I'm kind of just reading the indictment like, oh, okay. I thought that Loose Cannon was doing some attention shit and just kind of making stuff up to have a viral clip or whatever. And he didn't just talk about it on my podcast. He talked about it even more on Academics' podcast. But that was kind of shocking to me. Like on the podcast, people think that I know about this stuff and then I get people to talk about it because I already know. And it's like, no, people are just spilling their guts, like telling me their life story, which unfortunately in Loose Cannon's situation, it's like, if this was a couple years ago in the eyes of the feds, that doesn't really matter. Yeah. You might as well have done it. Well,
make sure you guys hit the like button. But yeah, don't see, here's the thing. And this is what I'm afraid of. I'm telling you guys, like, look, at the end of the day, don't be afraid to come out here to La La Land. Like, don't be afraid. Like, come enjoy yourself. LA is a beautiful city. And I know a lot of people have been saying, like, they're kind of scared about this checking in thing. I mean, I think at this point, for the most part, the checking in seems to be long gone at this point. I'm going to say at this point, it would be in anyone's best interest who is currently out and they haven't been charged to stop the checking in. Because, you know, especially when you're dealing with the feds, you don't know who they still eyeing at this point. But yeah, that's the only thing that makes me worry, that people just be like, dang, can I even come to LA? Don't ever be afraid to come to LA. You'll be good. You'll be good. Nah, homie, you a fed. Right. So yeah. So Hassan, yeah, but Hassan recorded Whack 100 and put that mess out there on his freaking page. And so yeah. So a lot of people are like, well, Whack, why aren't you locked up since you claim you allegedly squeeze people when they come out here?
Last week, as far as they're concerned.
I mean, at the end of the day, I just feel like with you, you know, I hear what people say. I've heard everything. Adam's a culture vulture. He says he's that, right? But when you really dissect it and you look at everything, at least a person like me, you provide a platform. You don't hold a gun to people's head and tell them what to say. You don't force people to tell you what they're doing. Just like I'm here, I'm telling my story. People pick and choose what to say. And unfortunately, sometimes people say stuff that incriminates them. And that's what we're seeing right now.
Right.
You know, so
definitely.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with that, which still makes me wonder, why the hell do they go on these platforms? See, everybody, it's like, it's a clout thing. It is so much of a clout thing that, especially when you have people who have a big audience, like the No Jumpers or the Vlad TVs or whatever the case may be, they decide that they just want to run their mouth. And I do not understand it. But again, clout is the new like dollar sign for a lot of people, which I guess is why a lot of people become these content creators. And like I said, I'm a content creator. I'm a content creator because I like to do this for fun. Of course, making money while you're having fun is great, but it's interesting to see how many people blatantly lie and blatantly will stir up stuff just for a bag. But I think this situation is probably hopefully scaring people to say, maybe lying or telling too much information, it's not worth it because now I have Fed charges. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it really worth it? Is the money worth it where now you're in the feds and you can't even enjoy that money because you may be facing, I don't know, 20, 30 damn years? I would say it's not worth it.
So you got arrested at one point for throwing a water bottle at him?
That was last year.
Okay. Oh, that situation in the hotel. Okay, my bad. My bad. But you ended up getting arrested by the end of that?
Well, he pressed charges. So the hotel wasn't going to press charges on me.
Right.
What he did was a citizen's arrest. And so he did a citizen's arrest. He pressed charges on me. And that's so crazy because when he jumped on me and he did all of that to me, I never put him in jail. I didn't press.
That is so crazy that as somebody as Big U, Big U, from my understanding, is like 6'4", 300 pounds, big guy. You know dang on well that Mountain Dew bottle or that water bottle didn't even put a bruise on you. He literally did that out of spite and being petty and probably another form of bullying if allegedly this is true. Because a water bottle, like, it wasn't a brick. It wasn't like a water bottle. You didn't even probably feel that. So interesting enough, comparing her throwing a water bottle to allegedly jumping her or stumping her out while she's pregnant. Yeah, sir. And so I guess she's about to talk about how when he did that to her, she didn't press charges.
I was raised, that's another thing when you deal with dysfunctional living. I was raised to not go to the police, right? So I took it. If I would have pressed charges on Big U for what he,
yeah, she didn't even pinch that ninja, okay? A water bottle, that thing probably ricocheted off of him. Like, what? A water bottle?
He did to me, he probably would have still been in jail. And I didn't. You know, and that's another thing because people's like, well, if he did this, why didn't you press charges? I was raised to not do things like that. Can you fault me? Fault my environment where I came from.
She grew up in that environment. I mean, and technically I could have fell in that environment too, because again, every neighborhood has some type of set. But let me tell you something, I'm a civilian. I'm telling you damn right. I don't go by that street code. I don't live by the street code. You do something to me, I'm pressing charges on that ass. Okay? Pressing charges on that ass. I got too much to lose. I be damned. But again, the way she was taught, you don't do it. You put your hands on me and you potentially harming me and my baby. Oh, I'm pressing charges. I'm pressing charges.
Today, I would definitely press charges because I'm a different person.
Do you have regrets about that? Because the whole situation could have played out quite differently, huh?
I do, right? But if you knew better, you would do better. I didn't know. I was a young girl. You know, I'm a grown woman now. And that's probably why I'm not scared anymore. Today, I wouldn't let him get away with that. But back then, I didn't know any better.
What's your perspective on?
All right. So that was a little taste. I mean, you guys can always go over there and look at all of her actual segments, her clips on there. But look, I'm all for women. So at the end of the day, if a woman has been hiding this for this long, if all of this is true, and she literally had him read an email from 2014, and we don't even know if it started before that. So easily a decade or more of her being in fear, being beat up allegedly, having to fight other women, and having her career destroyed, having her life destroyed. For her to come out and want to tell her story now, kudos to her if it's true. My gut is telling me though she gonna be on that stand. At this point, especially if the feds are using these podcasts and these content creators as evidence and the reason for why they lock some of these people up, why in the hell wouldn't they go to her and say, we need for you to testify on how scary this guy is. And if you're willing to do it on the podcast, and she already said that she was told, she was raised not to press charges, but now she would absolutely press charges. So if you absolutely willing to press charges now because you've changed as a woman, then if you willing to press charges, you willing to take the stand. So something tells me when that court date, official court date, and when they go to trial, she amongst others are going to be there testifying. Kudos to her, because like I said, yeah, Big U is in prison, but if Big U has that type of hold, he still got that hold out on the streets too. So it seems like she's like, F it, I'm not about to be in fear anymore, and you got to respect that, especially with just some of her story and what we've heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's deep. That's deep. And you guys saw in that one clip that we watched, she was shaking and crying. She was like, I hate that man. That sound like some really deep stuff. She's like, I hate him. I really hate him. And so she was like, at that point, she just said she saw red. It was ready. She was ready for war. I do find it interesting, though, that she was willing to forgive Nipsey. Interesting enough. And maybe because she feels like Nipsey didn't physically do anything to her. But as far as I see it, to me, the person who set you up is just as responsible as the person to me who put hands on you. But that's me. Everybody in that freaking store would have been on my list. You know what I'm saying? But for whatever reason, she said she didn't speak to him for 8 years. And when they saw each other, they kind of laughed it off and talked about it. Not me. I'll be damned. He would have definitely, you know what I'm saying? But I guess to a certain extent, it cleansed her to forgive him, because forgiveness is really about you, not about the other person. But I'm wonder if, she is happy that she spoke to him before he was unalive. But I guess because at this point he's unalive, so she can't really sit up there and put any fault on him. He's no longer here and Big U is. But yeah, this was deep. This was deep, you guys, and I wanted to share it. So we'll have to see. But kudos to SKG. I am hoping that, she feels, I don't know. Hopefully she I don't know if she's really healed. But I hope she and pray she continues to heal and she can get paid for her pain. You know what I mean? Like, if this story is true, get paid for it, boo. You know what I'm saying? Get paid for it, especially if she lost her livelihood the way that she claims that she did because of him bad mouthing her and people not wanting to work with her because they were scared of Big U. Big U was there. Yeah, and maybe Nipsey was. Maybe Nipsey was less. That is true. That is true. I mean, and maybe she also felt for Nipsey because allegedly they claimed that Big U was allegedly extorting Nipsey too. So maybe she was like, you kind of, a victim just like me. So maybe that was the case. But I'm just talking about in my perspective. As far as I see everybody in that damn store, I would have looked at them just like they was Big U. Sorry. Because to me, and that to me shows manhood too. You got all of those men in there and they just gonna put their heads down while a man allegedly does that to a woman, and a pregnant woman too. And even if she wasn't pregnant, but you put your head down, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. It's up and it's stuck for everybody. So yeah, that's definitely. But yeah, so with that being said, you guys will have to see. But it seems like Big U is not getting any bail. He's locked up, and I think he's gonna stay in there until they actually have an official date on when they're gonna start trial or whatever the case may be. But we're dealing with the feds here. Allegedly, he's easily looking at 20 plus years. Easily, which is pretty much at his age a life sentence. Yeah. So that's the life sentence. That's pretty much what it is. So and we know how the feds operate. They have a high conviction rate. So something tells me they have enough. And a lot of that could also be the things that Big U said himself. He was on video talking about people got to check in. You want a video, you want this, you got to check in. And if you don't check in other words, kind of alleging it was going to be a problem. Like, it's been all over the internet. People are showing the things that Big U said. So again, too many people talking. Like, this is no longer the 80s. Like Adam was saying, Big U was moving like it's 87. Well, the problem in 87 is there was no cameras. You can get away with a lot of stuff in 87 versus now where literally your phone is a camera, your phone is a recorder. Every block has a freaking camera. You can't move the way you moved back in 87. You know what I'm saying? Yes, the feds, I want to say it's higher than that, Danielle, a 98% conviction rate. I guess it depends on where, but yeah, they have a very high conviction rate for a reason, because they is slow and steady wins the race for them. They will investigate for years until it is time, and they have all the proof to keep you locked up. So yeah, so with that being said, though, let's continue the conversation below. What do you guys think about what she was saying? Do you believe her? Do you not believe her? And if you don't believe her, why you don't believe her? Like I said, I don't have a dog in this fight. This is why I'm a civilian, because I just never saw being a part of that stuff. It didn't lead to anywhere but destruction. But you know, she sounds like she's been through a lot. Hell, she need to write a damn book. Child, she write a book. She may make a lot of money off of that book. SKG, you may want to write a book, boo. Do a Tubi movie or something. So with that being said, you guys, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on my next video. Toodles.